Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome from the TF4 team. We are so delighted to have you join us tonight, and we are so passionate about sharing the world of cinema with you. Since its inception in June 2020 by Dr. Geeta Vishwanath and Professor Nigila, TF4 has blossomed into a thriving community of film enthusiasts. Every Saturday at 9 p.m. on Zoom, we unite to discuss global cinema with a member-led film choice and insightful discussions. We have had the privilege of hosting esteemed filmmakers like Avanna Sen, Amol Palekar, Girish Khasravalli, and Adur Gopalakrishnan. Our film journey features themed festivals including East European, Iranian, and women's cinema. We mark our anniversary with a smartphone short film contest, and recently we hosted international seminar on Indian cinema. We are so excited to continue the cinematic journey together. Tonight, we will discuss the short film Dhammam, directed by Ranjith, part of the 2022 anthology series Victim, which was released on Sony Live. The film explores themes of anti-caste politics and land disputes through a father and daughter who meet on a narrow pathway. We are so excited to welcome Ranjith. Currently, he is not available now. I welcome him for this section. Ranjith is making waves in Tamil cinema with his bold storytelling, authentic portrayal of Dalit lives. His films like Attagati in 2012, Madras in 2014, Kabali in 2016, and Kala in 2018 showcases the struggles and culture of marginalized communities, earning him critical acclaim and commercial success. As a director, he brings a fresh perspective to Tamil cinema, highlighting social issues and oppression. His production house, Neelam, promotes socio-cultural causes and innovative filmmaking. Fans and critics alike praise his unique voice and vision, cementing his status as a lead figure in contemporary Tamil cinema. Today's discussion is leading by Swarnavel Eswaran. Swarnavel Eswaran is a professor at Michigan State University teaching film history, theory, and production. His documentaries like Tsunami, Waves from the Deep in 2018, and More Memories at the Crossroad in 2016 showcase his expertise in capturing compelling stories. His research focuses on Tamil cinema, exploring its history, aesthetics, and politics, as well as its connection with Hollywood and Hindi films. His authored notable books like Madras Studios, Narrative Genre and Ideology in Tamil Cinema in 2015, and Cinema Manandamum and Manandamum Mannidadalum in 2019. His fiction features Katumaram, created by director Miskin, is currently touring film festivals. His work has earned him the 2025 Tamil American Pioneer Award for Excellence in Arts and Entertainment. We look forward to a thought-provoking section tonight with so many notable figures with us. Let me hand over the section, starting with our lead discussant. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Krishna Priya. For your kind and generous words. Thank you, Dr. Geeta, Professor Nikila, and all my friends here. Let me say at the outset that Ranjith, this film is very close to his heart. So he wanted to join, but he's now on work on his latest film called Vetuvam. So which got delayed for various reasons. So he's working on it. If he's not able to join today, then I'll try to bring him on another occasion where we can have entirely a discussion session with him on all his works. So that is what I thought I should tell you at the outset. Let's begin with Dhammam. On Sony Live, many of you might have watched. It's a very significant film because that feature filmmakers when they want to make a short film, they make it because they have something to say through the short form. That is. So here, if you look at Dhammam in the context of other canonical and classical short films, you will find that the form differs in its spontaneity. That you have a highly moving camera, and it has the Ranjith's authorial theme of trying to choreograph the mise en scene according to the space. It's not like a premeditated or pre-drawn storyboard is there, and to that he's kind of trying to compose, which might be the kind of looks of generally the canonical films like Wedding or Happy Anniversary, or the kind of films we associate with short film classics. Here Ranjit is drawing from his own background as a painter. So for him, he generally looks at space as a canvas. So you'll find that he is using here. He is going to the location and watching it, and then he is choreographing his mise en scene according to the space. And more importantly, think of the Buddha statue here. That that is one of the things that is there, sitting there. Right from the beginning, he establishes its centrality through the scene where this child Kema, which again the name is drawn. It has resonances for Kema, who was the principal, female disciple with Buddha, who was enlightened being, being of wisdom. And one of the, meanings for Kema is tranquility. That. So she is there, and then she tries to climb up. And then, in a way, through her subjectivity, as if on sitting on Buddha's shoulder, we see the whole film, actually. Buddha is there, he comes frequently, that in the film, even during midway through, he's there in the long shot, and then we see him, towards the end. So he's as if, that he is witnessing, the whole thing, that, and in a way, Ranjit, through his Buddha's vision, also posits, is there a midway possible, between violence and hatred? So it has great that kind of extraordinary significance. The other important thing I wanted to point out is why this form, in the case of Ranjit. For example, short film makes it possible because of its brevity for us to really understand, the way he works. Unlike a feature film, it is not complicated at all. For example, his investment in melodrama. That is, if you look at all his work, family is central to his work. You cannot find in Kala or Kabali or Madras, all these major works, Arpata Parambarai, that they are kind of loners or who are on the fringes, but who have no family, like we see in some of the gangster films. But here, family always plays a very central role in all his work. So melodrama becomes central because that here again you find the extraordinary ties and relationship between the father and the daughter. You know. If it was the son and the mother in Sarpata Paramari, in Dhammam it is the daughter and the father. And then he is also talking about a closely knit community. That is that the woman Komada, meaning cow, she is the aunt of this guy, Shaker, who is from the higher caste, and whose caste oppressive kind of behavior is very visible for us. Though she is the aunt of this guy, but we see that she has a very cordial kind of relationship because that is how community operates. So this is also Ranjit's investment, that that he is always interested in a constellation of community with all its pluses and minuses. I mean, look at her mood change the minute she thinks that Nephi is killed. Her whole entire tone changes. So then it's not that like because we are close, it doesn't mean caste has disappeared. But then that humanity pervades. If you look at Ranjit's works. So here you will also find that the melodramatic moment, of the father and the daughter, and in between this very big obstacle, when he's repeatedly asking her to go away, being afraid, for her life, but she refuses to leave. And in the end, it's not just the coming together of the father and the daughter, but also they take this man, who is injured and who is, dying to the hospital. So it is, in a way, very perfect kind of a melodramatic mode, which Ranjith uses. And it is very important for us to contemplate on that. That is how can you claim to be a filmmaker of the marginalized without addressing a form which is associated with, women and tears, people who are marginalized. These are things, not generally written about, Ranjith. Whereas being a short film, it makes all these things very visible for us to understand that, how is cost politics is framed in a way which is able to reach a vast majority of audience, not just, elites and academicians, who will think about all this, but, the real audience, for whom these films are meant actually. So this is important. And the other, beauty of short film is that, like a short story, it is always predicated on, the twist or the turn or the poetic or the philosophic ending part of it. So here again, you have all that come together. A very humane, a very poetic, very philosophic. In a way, it is a turning point. It's a twist. Um, Even in Ranjith Sura, this is very unique because that it's an open acknowledgement, of his investment, in the Ambedkarite tradition of Buddhism, about humanity. So in many ways, this I think is a very significant film, and most importantly for me, in the very spontaneous way. I mean, he has staged the entire film. That think of the allegory, of the stream or the brook, and think of the fish, and the underwater shots, fish. So it is a signifier certainly of the enclosed spaces, the containment, and then the fish itself and its ties, with this girl, the protagonist, Kim. The way he has kind of staged those sequences. Even there, it is not about the fixed kind of short compositions. It's about the highly improvised way he will use these underwater shots and her subjective, her point of view. And then when as soon as this guy enters, you will find that it has resonance for all these mythical visuals which are deeply entrenched in our mind. For example, and it is about any kind of mythological figures, from Adi Shankara to Rama, or encountering and being questioned of their own caste pride. You see this man's feet and her feet, his composition. So that is where which is what is profoundly um, you know troubling about caste from times immemorial. Ranjith is able to evoke through these young girl's feet and that of this guy, just through his folded waistee and that arrogance. So there are many moments like that in the film. So that's why I was extremely interested in screening this film and discussing that. See, normally there is a tendency to talk about that as a Dalit filmmaker, his films are addressing caste. But then, we have to also think, how nuanced, how artistically he does that. I mean, what kind of thinking goes behind a painter who is a filmmaker, and what is his kind of unique, authorial visions, not only regarding content, which is extremely important for the present time. That is why he is a Dalit icon. He made his first film Atakati in just 2012. So it is very rare to see, in the world history of cinema, I would say, that who had just, in a decade's time, a reach which is global, from Colombia to Karnataka to, Kashmir to my own village, So So we have to think, what is it about the form? I think that comes out of, not just, the extraordinary climax of Kala, which, great scholars like Ranjani Mazumdar have written. I also, talked about that in my essays, citing her and other scholars. It is an extraordinary climax where it is not just about the black and white, between Nana Patekar and Rajnikant, but it is also the play of colors, being a painter, during a climactic moment. But even here, you can find, how, painting and, that kind of a vision, is so central to his work. So I will stop here, and I will, keenly, looking at what responses you have, and if necessary, I will come back and talk. Thank you.
Now the section is open for participants.
Can I
Yes,
come
ma'am.
in, Krishna Priya?
Yes,
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 yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Swarnavel. Thank you so much for asking us to to watch this short film, and for your introduction. You're right when you say that melodrama is very, central to Paranjit's cinema, especially because it is rooted in the family.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, I thought, at least in this film, the treatment was not, in the fashion of melodrama. For example, the way, abuses are hurled at the father of this
Yeah.
child. That is, in fact, done, in such a banal, routine manner,
Yes.
which kind of emphasizes the everydayness of caste violence,
Yes.
which makes it even more poignant than a melodramatic treatment would have done. And
Yes.
I also thought the use of the child character as, emblematizing the ethical and the morality of human relationships.
Yes.
That was something very beautifully done, I thought. And knowing Paranjit's, alignment with Ambedkarite,
Yes.
this one philosophy, I
Yes.
think it's also, it's also similar to what Ambedkar thought of as moral transformation is as much a part of the political resistance when it
Yes.
comes to caste politics. So that way it kind of, fits in
Yes.
very beautifully. And of
Right.
course, the water
Yes.
images, which I think, again, that comes in his films
Yeah.
repeatedly. Some of his other films also have water as a central
Yes.
symbol. So, here, water at one level is, of course, life-giving, but
Yes.
it is also a site of conflict.
Yes.
So these although it is such a short film, there are so many, meanings and symbols packed into it that it becomes very interesting.
Yes. Yes. No, I agree with you, Geeta. That is, see, um, it is melodramatic for me in the sense that, if you look at the discourse of melodrama, that, for instance, that Peter Brooks, spoke about, the Enlightenment period, and he said that post, the idea of God, a moral occult, melodrama was, because we needed to have a fight between good and evil, in a world which was like post God, Godless World. Then Ira Bhaskar and people like them, they made Ira argued that no, in the context of India, that we have not achieved or we have not, come into that space of the post-sacral. So here, for example, Buddha is there, his presence. So this is a very important kind of, what I would say, a very decolonial way of looking at melodrama from our own ethos, that. So here, even in the end, it is almost a very Buddhist take, actually.
Yes.
So to that, extent, for me, because see, I am looking at melodrama as also a form of the everyday. For example, say if when we say that it is a form of, associated with the domestic sphere and woman, that is why it is kind of always thought of as a lower kind of form, that is. So today, I mean, young filmmakers want to, reinvent that form to address, for example, think of, the sequences he choreographs, between, Ishwari Rao and the entire family sequence, in Kala, So he's able to create that family, those dramatic moments. Then, that they are acting as a counterpart to the revolutionary son and Anjali Patil's character, the dramatic moment. You get my point. So here, that because, as you rightly pointed out, the caste politics is, something which has been normalized in the quotidian life, the way they treat. But also the intervention is, when you have the moments when Kema, true to her very tranquil name, is able to intervene just with, a few sentences, shake us out through her spontaneity. That is, that because when the father asks her to go, she refuses. And then when she has the knife, when that's a key moment, I think. That see, it is actually,
Yes.
I mean, there is a juxtaposition of the everyday, because it is we can see through her reality that she can be this kind of a girl because she is independent. She is, we see her fishing, we see people walk by her, and then we see that she can encounter this guy. Yes, So she has that kind of a thing. So it comes from, this idea of, that how every day can also lead to that kind of a spiritual courage. On the one hand, that it is also creating this fear. What will happen to this tender girl? In front of this kind of a guy.
Yes.
And where words are not responded with words, but this sickle and this kind of weapons. But she is there as her being countering it. And therefore, I think there is a kind of a logic in this universe when in the end, when she says, tells her dad that let us pick up this guy and take him to the hospital. It looks, logical within that story universe, because of the way he built her. That is.
Yes.
So they are enabled, I think, because of the way he is able to choreograph, this kind of, dramatic moments, which are, as you pointed out, part of the very similitude of our lives. It's not, moot or removed, from the everyday reality of our life.
Yes.
At the same time, it is dramatized so that, we understand the intensity of it. That is, for instance, that the other way to look at Ranjith's works is that, how a sense of realism is created around this drama surrounding castes. Like here, it is even more evident for us, unlike in a feature film where it will be more. You need more efforts to kind of filter out. Here, it is very visible because look at the long sequence, in the slush when they are fighting each other. It is almost like reading a great short story. That moment, because he holds it long, because of those long takes, you feel that till they are tired and exhausted, to their last breath, that, and again, then find the father, who was injured, his leg, but he's still, not bothered about, his own son, who is dying, but about this revenge. And then in that context, he bring in another, element of humanity. When the elder brother, um, you know, tries to hit the younger brother and silences him off because yes, that is what is, I think, beautiful about this film, because Ranjit extends his hand. He's not portraying totally as blacks and whites. That there is a kind of a grayscale. And I think that is very much helped by the way he has choreographed. This dramatic moment within a highly realistic mode, in the sense of not only the form, the long takes and all, because of the lived reality in India.
Mhm. Yeah. Thank you, Suman.
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah, so thank you, Swarnavel, for this suggesting this film. I had not watched it before, so it was really wonderful to get acquainted with the film through you. Um, there were a couple of things that really fascinated me. One is the way it is filmed, the combination of shots that are so different from the usual. For instance, the drone shots, that parcel out the fields, and for a moment you wonder, what is this pattern that you see? And then the underwater shots, which are kind of subjective. I mean, subjective even in terms of sound. It's almost as if the fish is hearing the voice of the girl. So I was just, wondering if he's also trying to map what caste looks like on the ground vis-a-vis what it looks like, aerially, as if it is a compartmentalized thing. But then what we see on the ground is this venom and this hatred, which literally drowns them, and it kind of bogs them in the ground. So I thought the choice of visual, I mean the filmic choices that he makes, I thought was remarkable in the film. Of course, Kema is such a precious character. She's so wonderful in the film. I mean, with just that climbing on the Buddha and the interaction that happens between the father and the daughter, you can see both her philosophy and her practicality. Her take on God or religion or whatever. And as you mentioned, two characters to me who represent both caste as well as going beyond caste are Komata and I think he's Mama's son, the one who, So Komata had been cursing all the while, wishing death upon Shekhar. And it looked like she was she her reaction then is very surprising, that she starts howling. So to me, I thought this is a commentary on what caste is at that moment, that he's family, he's caste, and then she virtually does the rabble rousing. So she calls people her family, and whom till then there you can sense the antagonism, but then it looks like she is mobilizing them to beat him up. And in fact, Shekhar kind of hints at some kind of a sexual liaison between those two. And the next moment we see, so as you said, it's a very interesting way in which caste, we see operating. And in this brother's or nephew's character, that one moment when he seems to transcend caste to what this girl is saying, that there is a man whom you can actually save, not necessarily complete the killing. So I thought the way in which he's talking about caste here as well, I thought was wonderful. as you said, not in terms of black and white boundaries, not as we see it from the drone shots, but to see the messiness of it, both in terms of the messiness of, how they can virtually kill each other, but also these kinds of moments which seem to go against all calculations, so to speak. And that last shot where they actually seat him in between and take him on the motorbike. Again, as you said, a very, it's, she's the girl. In fact, in the TFO conference, Aarti was asking this question, where are, the women in new cinema? Because even when in Marathi films, even when there are, when you have young children, they are mostly male children. So where are the boys? So it was in that sense, again, very refreshing that the center of moral authority is not, by default the young boy, but this young girl who is teaching all those men there a lesson. So in so many ways, this film was very, very precious. Thank you very much.
Yes, I will just like to add, one thing, Nikhila, that see, when we think of, the discourse surrounding, Marxism, and Ambedkarite, vision. See, always you will find, that this is very important for us, that what eminent scholars hold, that how caste precedes class in India, So Gomada is a classic example of that. That see, through class, she finds some unity, with these people because she is marginalized by her own, community. But then caste precedes class when it comes to, So, how in such a, an aesthetic of minimalism and brevity, Ranjith is saying such a profound kind of, is engaging in this discourse. That's why, see, this film has so many layers, Nikhila, if you look at it, it's so wonderful, actually. It is certainly, see, his work from his heart, That's why, when he doesn't have the time, at the moment, see, he is making way to and producing 2 films, So he is so busy for him to come and make a short film. Then I think that, it is something, precious for him, and we can see why, his aesthetics and form and humanity and his larger worldview, his investment, in a casteless kind of society, casteless society. That is what he has named his music collective. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone else need to add points? Nagesha, sir? Ananya, do you have anything to add?
Hello.
Dhammam?
May
Yes,
I?
ma'am. Yeah, sure.
Hello, my name is Tanmay. This is not a question, just a comment. So while watching the film, I was reminded of a film of David Fincher, that is Seven. So I was thinking about the broader theme of who is the victim. Everyone is a victim. One is a victim of physical attack. One is a victim of emotional torment and everything. And just like in Seven, that everyone is a sinner. At the end, even Brad Pitt turned out to be the hidden sinner. So in this film also, the girl, she was also shouting that it is me who killed that person or who hurt that person. So don't kill my father, kill me. And I also notice a kind of like those camera movements, like pan, tracking shots. It's almost also reminded me of David Fincher, like cameras moving alongside the characters at the same speed. So that's it. It's a wonderful film, and thank you for bringing this film to us.
Thank you. I agree. I fully agree. That David Fincher is also remarkable. Particularly, even in a short reverse shot kind of mode, he will bring his own signature kind of style. He is very meticulous. So I think it it holds true about all great filmmakers, including Ranjith, that you know. Despite the apparently the highly moving camera, and as Nikhila pointed out, it's not just about the underwater shot, but also you have the drone aerial shot punctuating key moments, where almost like a out of this intensity of violence at a very climactic moment, is giving this larger perspective for us to reflect the futility of this violence. What is it about caste which has made us to lose our humanity this way? That's a very, very significant shot, that drone shot. It's not only a visual moment in the film, but it's also a moment for reflection. So these kind of moments are what makes like, say, somebody like Scorsese, think of the intensely violent moments when he will go to the stop angle, a moment to reflect. I mean, Ranjit, all these filmmakers are that way. I mean, we can together read them as masters, undoubtedly.
Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? Rubeya, do you have anything to add on? Yes, Sriman, Sanjay Kumar sir, does anyone have anything to add on?
Can I come in quickly?
Yeah, yes, sure.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Swarnavel, sir, for joining us, taking out your precious minutes from the day. I myself am really new whenever the cinematic composition, or whenever this cinematic criticism is on mostly South Indian cinema, because I've mostly kind of been around North Indian borders, North Indian part of the country, and mostly in the northeastern part. So South Indian, anything South Indian is really new to me and interesting as well. So, sir, I would like to ask you about how you drawing your experience from the way you portrayed the role of caste in South Indian cinema. How will you draw your experience from the presentation of caste in North Indian cinema? For example, I'm just aware of this movie which is known as Dhadak, which shows not caste but honor killing. And there are such presentations, but that movie Dhadak is rather a work of cinematic composition that was inspired by another movie called Sarat, which is not North Indian, I guess. So how will you speak on this different or diverse presentation of the problem of caste in the country across different parts of the country, as you might have had to put together your own perspectives in doing this in the South Indian part? So how will you speak on this diverse representation?
Yes, that is like you mentioned the right film, Sairat, by Nagraj Manjule. So Manjule, like Ranjit, Manjule works in regional cinema, Marathi cinema, and you will find that, in Hindi cinema, there have been interventions, regarding caste, particularly in the art cinema mode, that it has been there. But in commercial cinema, they particularly see, I'm not talking here about art cinema, I'm talking about mainstream cinema. See, what is Ranjit's intervention? That is, it is talking about caste in the mainstream cinema. When you look at Kala, Kabali, all these major works. So there, if you compare, even in a film like Article 15, you need to have still a protagonist, from the upper caste, to speak about Dalit issues. But with Ranjith and Nagaraj Manjule, it changes. So we can say that, regional cinema has contributed, this present, to the present Dalit cinema movement, which is not only talking about caste openly, but it is, also questioning it. At the same time, it's kind of aesthetically, profoundly interesting films, both in terms of form and content. They are big interventions. Hindi cinema in the mainstream, their larger preoccupation is still with, to appealing to a larger audience. So generally, they have to still, look at, a place which is not really marked. But you can see gradually there are also changes, like with a film like Mashan. You will find, it is addressing, with, Neeraj Gayavan, it changes in the cinema as well. So that moment we can see all over. Whereas, for instance, it's a long history. It is not that, caste has been addressed only today. It has been there. But then, they will not be marking a Dalit character as Dalit openly, in earlier cinema. You have to infer through gestures in the way they behave, then, or, they are just like, nameless, workers on the side, not only Dalit, but indigenous character or anybody from the lowest caste, they are all marked, they are made further invisible. You get my point? Their problems, like their voices are not heard or not given the, kind of significance they should be. Whereas it changes, with, filmmakers, like Ranjith, like Nagaraj Manjule, like, Mari Selvaraj, like with, Neeraj Gayavan, all these changes. So it's a large trajectory. I would point out to you to read, one of my essays in the Oxford Handbook to, it is about media studies and I think social justice. In that, I have an essay on the hierarchy of caste in Tamil cinema, where I'm tracing the entire history, from the 1930s onwards, till today. So that will give you an idea that, how, caste have been kind of, conceived and represented, particularly mostly by, upper caste filmmakers, See, I did my research 10 years prior and after to independence, on Madras Studios, 37 to 57, 47, was our independence. So when I was doing on the studios, I could hardly, find, a Dalit technician or, Dalit producer or a Dalit, cinematographer. So I was, particularly I wanted to, bring in an element of caste, but I was not able to because, even some camera assistants who became cameramen, this iconic cinematographer suggested, you go and ask him, he will say, but then, they work in different names and, because of so many, social pressures, they didn't want to address, they didn't want to be interviewed, but they spoke to me off camera. So it was not that, Dalit technicians were not there. But then, because of the socio-cultural, upper caste hegemony and dominance, that they were marginalized. So that way, I think, it is heartening to see, all these filmmakers, not only making films and speaking on behalf of their people, but also producing and, and owning, their voice. So it's a remarkable kind of, phase, for us to be in, particularly with the digital turn, particularly, the last 2 decades, I would say. If you, I also written on, caste and food in, cinema. There I am addressing, Mehboob Khan's 1941 film Roti. So there I am also in a way tracing the trajectory of Hindi, overall the Indian film. And Roy's, Satyajit Roy's intervention in films like Agantuk. Then I'm coming to another very important film produced by Ranjith called Setuman. Ser means, mud or slash, man means deer. So literally it is pig. That is the alternative title of the film. That's another, it is, based on a short story by the highly, revered writer Perumal Murugan in Tamil. And it was directed by a young director by name Tamil. So Ranjith has also produced so many wonderful works actually. So I'll stop here, but you can also email me. We can have a longer discussion regarding this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And that was fruitful. That was full of facts and information, and I'll love to get back to you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else need to add on points? Okay, so shall I ask a doubt? So my doubt is that even in the film Dhammam, we can see the use of landscapes like fields, mud, monsoon, village. These landscapes we can use. So whether these landscapes is depicted as a metaphor for caste oppression and social vulnerability, that means how do you see this film, like this ecological imagery, and how do you connect it with the caste hierarchy?
Yes, as Geeta pointed out, it is also a film about land. Actually, if you look at it, that is, the allegory of the metaphor of the stream or the brook, around which a lot of murders have happened. That higher caste people blocking, the water going in, and so it is endemic. It's not that it was like only the issues in the past. Even today, I mean, it continues. So that is itself a symbol. Working in the field, isn't it? There are close-ups with which the film begins actually. So it is also true that if you come to my Tirunelveli area, sorry, there was some internet problem, I think. So I was saying, so if you come to my area, which is Tirunelveli, just to my village is like 1 hour to the north of Kanyakumari, you will find that they are more well versed, more knowledgeable about farming and field, and when to sow, when to have the harvesting. So it is not like it has been like centuries of that kind of knowledge and work. So Ranjit is also pointing to that the father is working, and is keen on his work and field and having a safe life. But then he is not allowed to. It is being intervened.
This, sir. Anyone else need to add on point? Madhurima ma'am, Mahadeva sir, anyone else? Sridhar sir.
May I come in?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure.
Yeah, so I have some stray thoughts, not anything profound, but I would like to express them. For example, I saw this scene as foreshadowing when Komata comes and asks the little girl Kema, so have you caught any fish? And she says that, no, this is not my lucky day. This, in a way, is kind of foreshadowing that what is going to come, as it happens in any kind of tragedy, that there is some indication given by the director or the writer that something bad is going to happen after some time. And the lady also, Komata, she curses her nephew in saying that why doesn't he die? She also mentions the name of Yama. And after some time, we also see that he's, Sekar is almost on the verge of death. So this conversation between the aunt, between the Komata and Sekar is very important for the narrative. It is through this conversation that we come to know that what designs are there in the mind of Sekar, that how he wants to occupy the land of, or to snatch the land of Guna. And he also expresses in a way like his pride is hurt, that how this person is, how Guna is so proud of his 1 acre of land, just a small piece of land, whereas Shekhar has so much of land. So he wants to destroy this self-respect of Guna. So this is the intention which is expressed through the dialogue with Aunt Komata. And he also says that he will, like he already says that he will snatch this land and he will create a ruckus. That's what I was reading subtitles that he will create the ruckus, and and through that he will. So it's like he is the one who is provoking. That is his intention. Whereas in the dialogue of Guna and Komata, we find that Komata is saying that don't provoke him. So actually, Shekhar has the intention of provoking Guna and snatching his land. So this comes out very well, and that situates the story, that makes us understand the relationship between Komata and Shekhar, and Guna and Shekhar. So that scene is very important. And I like the use of camera where the fight between Guna and Shekhar is going on. There is a complete silence for some time. This girl Kema is now fallen on the ground in the mud, and the camera focuses on Kema rather than on the fight. So that creates a kind of suspense, because after some time we see the blood, I mean the red color flowing in water. So, somebody is hurt, somebody is injured, or somebody is dead, depending on the way we interpret it. But the suspense is that the person, I mean, first when we see when this person Guna is lying with his, when we see his back, we think probably Guna is dead or he has fallen unconscious. But he finally gets up, and then this person, Shekhar, is in fact, Guna is supine, and Shekhar, we see his back. So that creates the suspense. With first thing that probably Guna is dead, and then later on we think that Shekhar is dead, though he is not dead, but he's probably badly injured. So that I like this kind of camera movement, which also creates some moments of silence, and it also focuses on the way this little girl Kema interacts with nature. We see her catching fish, we see her playing around the tree, which depicts a very intimate relationship of Kema with nature. That also shows her tenderness, and at the same time we find in the film also her how she resists the dominance. So all that has been done beautifully in the film. Yeah, thank you very much for choosing this film.
Thank you for those observations. Yes.
Anyone else? Nagesha-san?
Thank you, Swarnavel, for the film and also for the discussion. It was quite interesting. The issue that you flagged of the caste, the lady, the character of that lady who suddenly turns into something else just in a matter of few seconds was quite interesting.
Yes.
But I think it needs to be some slightly nuanced, in the sense that yes, it is caste, but not the caste consciousness of the lady. But few minutes back, our brother, cousin, is accusing her of having some kind of relationship with this guy. And when this guy gets killed, then I think it is natural that she will also be suspected. And it is a survival instinct in that society that she need to jump into defend the quote unquote the victim. In the sense, it is a survival instinct, number one. Number two, it's also a kind of identifying yourselves with the victim in a larger humanitarian context, as the girl is also trying to think in terms of saving that guy who is wounded. So in that sense, our character is very complex. One, trying to identify with a kin, number one. Number two, trying to survive in that hostile atmosphere where she's a single woman and the people are looking at her with suspicion. And number three, identifying with the victim at a humanitarian context. So in that sense, it's a very powerful thing. Even the girl is also like that. And she, I think the story suggests that we need to go back to this open mind that the girl has. She counters her father, she rectifies him, teaches him what actually Buddha is saying about the God when there is a deification of Buddha himself from his side. And then also taking on the mighty fellow when he refuses to give space, when he asks us to give space to him. And then again, when he falls down, she tries to identify with him and she urges her father to take him to the hospital. And even after all the fight, uh, she still wants her father to take him to hospital. I think these two women characters are highly complex. Number one, number two, we need to go back to that kind of plain site where we can, without any layers, social layers, we can identify with one another. And that's what I think is the message of the Buddha. And the shot in the beginning, when she's climbing on the Buddha, it looks like a huge statue because that's the how it is shown. But after that, we come to know that it's not so big as it comes out in the beginning. That was also quite interesting. So in a small film, everything is so packed, so complex, and still delivers the message that certain social layers which have been laid on us and pushes us to think in a particular way can be undone through the eyes of Buddha as well as this girl was something that was quite interesting. Thank you for the film and also thank you for the discussion.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Tarkeshwar. It is very, very important what you said. That is that when she says that, Buddha himself said he's not a god. That's very important because that in a way bookends the whole film. That humanity, that's. Thanks a lot, Tarakeshwar, again. Yes.
Anyone else need to add on any point? Okay, shall we wind up the section then?
Soumya or Yagnashri may have some things to say.
Next
Or even Sridhar. Sridhar has unmuted.
Oh, Sridhar sir.
I'm just thinking title, Dhammam, and the victimhood. How they are connected?
Sorry, sir.
I think it's a question.
No, confusion. No, not question.
Summary, sir, muted. Anyone else need to add on any points or anything?
Pallavi is also here. Pallavi may want to say something.
I didn't get a chance to watch the film because Sony Live is not available in the US, but I have heard many wonderful things and I've heard Swarnavel sir speak before. So I just wanted to say a personal thank you. I enjoyed the conversation and I'm really hoping to get a copy of the film as possible.
Anyone else need to comment on this? Okay, Ms. Sri, ma'am. Murali, Krishna, anyone else?
Yeah, shall I come in?
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Swarnavel sir, for
Thank you.
a very good, insightful presentation. Now, we know that Ranjith's films have the salient feature of not showing Dalit characters from the angle of victimhood. That is normally what we have seen before the advent of Nagaraj Manjule or, for example, Paranjit too. They were mostly shown from the angle of victimhood. If you see the films of 70s, especially the so-called new wave films of 1970s, we see such characters, Dalit characters, at least in some of the films. So here there is no question of victimhood here. And in many feature films of Paranjit, we have seen the Dalit assertion, sort of Dalit assertion as far as depicting Dalit characters are concerned. Now, the second point is I was quite intrigued by the usage of drone shots, especially the drone shots which shows the demarcation or the boundaries of the lands there. If I remember right, not only green patches are shown, even some brown patches are also shown. I think it may be the intention of the director to convey a sort of caste domination or the caste inequalities or even the land inequalities that exist in India. And see the juxtaposition of the next shot. If this is the differences or the class or the caste differences here shown, the next shot shows that the victim, that what is his name? That Kalaharasan has played that role, no? Shekhar is being taken to the hospital. The juxtaposition of that shot is very interesting and meaningful too. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else?
Thank
Sridhar,
you.
sir?
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else? Arun, sir? So shall we wind up the section? If no one is. Okay. I hope no one have anything to add on. So shall we wind up the section? Okay. First of all, thank you, Swarnavel Eswaran sir, for the discussion of today's section, for your enlightening section today. Your insights and experience have it's enriched our understanding of the film. We appreciate the thoughtful discussions and engaging questions from all the participants. A big thank you to everyone involved in making this section a success. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the world of cinema. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you, Krishna Priya. Thank you, Geeta, Nikhila, Tarakeshwar, all the friends, all the participants. Thank you.
Yeah, just a small announcement. Next Saturday, we take our usual annual break. we won't have a film discussion. Instead, I will share the link. You can all join and watch a play directed by Tarakeshwar, a play called Fire Rain. So we will share the YouTube link in the group, so you can all join. If you can join here, come here to Hyderabad and join us, you're also most welcome. Thank you.